So who will be the next occupant of the White House? The citizen of US will today vote for what is predicted to be one of the closest presidential contests ever, and caught in a neck-and-neck contest. Both the incumbent and the challenger made last-ditch efforts to woo the electorate, and just before the D-Day, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney crisscrossed several swing states, trying desperately to cover as much ground as possible. Now, with all prediction polls pointing to an evenly divided support, both candidates seem to be well aware of the potential of last day's momentum, of the fact that it could turn things around. So neither left anything to chance on the eve of today's vote. After a seesawing 18-month battle, Romney was tied with Obama in national polls, but the Democrat held narrow leads in 10 of the 12 key swing states that will decide who wins the White House. Both candidates had engaged in a weekend campaign marathon, going deep into the night before getting a few hours sleep and starting, yes, all over
Our fight
again.
goes on because we know America's always done best. We've always prospered when everybody gets a fair shot. And everybody's doing their fair share. Everybody's playing by the same rules. That's what we believe. That's why you elected me in 2008, and that is why I'm running for a second term as President of the United States. We'll win this election. We'll finish what we started. We'll renew the bonds that bind us together. We'll reaffirm the spirit that makes the United States of America the greatest nation on earth. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Now, Romney will first out of the gate addressing a rally in the biggest swing state of all, Florida, barely 10 hours after wrapping up an event the night before in Virginia, isn't it?
How are you? Good to see you.
I mean, the question of this election really comes down to this. Do the people of America want 4 more years like the last 4 years, or do you want real change finally? We ask you to stay at it all the way to victory on Tuesday night.
Well, it's been a tiring last 2 days for both the campaigners there, and a very tiring day, in fact, ahead for my colleague Maruk Inayat, tracking developments very closely in the US. Maruk, in this election, voter is the key, because we do know it's now down to the wire with both Mitt Romney and Barack Obama.
November 5th. So while you're in November 6th there in India, it's still November 5th here in Washington, D.C. and the rest of United States where I am at this point. And clearly this is one night that both the camps, not just the Republican but the Democratic camp, will be praying extremely hard, because this is as close as it gets. And one thing that pollsters, pundits across Washington DC and in both camps, the Republican as well as the Democratic camp, are saying that it is the voter turnout that really matters. Because in all the swing states, and for an Indian audience to understand what the swing states means, these are the battleground states. There are about 8 to 10 in this particular presidential elections that are key to either candidate winning. And in all these states, it's pretty much divided, or the vote is split right down the middle. So for either of the candidates to make it or win these states, which is extremely crucial for them to walk into the White House and the Oval Office, they have to get the voters out. So what we've seen through the day, and I was hearing a part of your broadcast, what both the candidates are doing, both Barack Obama as well as Mitt Romney, is going down to the last voter. Because ultimately, the way American elections work, which is very different from how it is in India, is that there is a popular vote and then there is an electoral vote, which are two very separate things. Without getting into the technicalities, what really makes a difference is that a higher turnout for either of the candidate or either of the party means good news at this point. Let's put it very simply, what both Barack Obama as well as Mitt Romney want is that the voters need to come out. And there are 3 crucial counties across the states, which will be, one is in Colorado, the other one is in Florida, and the third one is in Wisconsin. And these 3 are going to make a crucial difference. If you keep a look out for these 3 counties, then you know who's going to win.
You know, Maruk, of course, voter turnout key here, but With polls and all, everything is showing that Obama does have the edge. Let me ask you a question. You've been reporting on these elections for some time now for headlines today. What's your gut feel? What is it going to be? Will it be Barack Obama or will we see Mitt Romney?
Well, I'm not going to put my personal bet on either of the two, but what I'm hearing, Preeti, from most of the people here is that there is a stronger chance of Barack Obama actually coming back for a second term, even though many of them are being quite careful in how they predict the outcome, and they're saying it's as close as it gets, and it could be either of them. But I get a strange feeling from some of the people that I've been speaking to that Barack Obama definitely has an edge, and Hurricane Sandy, despite that unfortunate ravage that is caused in several states here, I think it's given a bit of a presidential edge to Barack Obama.
All right, Maruk Inayat, it's going to be a sleepless night for both Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. We hope you get your sleep there because it's going to be a heavy day reporting come tomorrow morning. Well, Maruk Inayat reporting live for headlines today for Wake Up India. Clearly, as Maruk also pointed out, polls say popular vote is more or less equally divided between Obama and Romney. Now, we try and make our viewers on Wake Up India understand why exactly that is. Now, Barack Obama has not been able to recover the ground he lost to Mitt Romney after the first presidential debate. Before the debate began, the US president had a clear lead of 8 points over his challenger. But after his horrendous performance in the first debate, Barack Obama fell back by 4 points. Now, despite a good showing in the subsequent debates, he hasn't been able to pull ahead, while Romney has managed to hold on to most of the gains that he has made. Now, over the last 1 month and a half, a period that coincided with the debate, Republicans have become much more upbeat about the race and about Mitt Romney himself. Republicans now say they are voting for Romney rather against Obama. The positive mood has translated into more Republicans who say they will come out and vote on November 6th, a surge of 7 percentage points over the same period. The Democrats who say they are likely to vote has remained largely constant at about 62%. Now, this is what has made Romney close the gap. All right, 10:30 is when you can tune into all the live polling trust headlines today to get you the very latest. But we have a panel there. Joining us is Mr. Vikram Nehru, former chief economist of the World Bank from Washington, D.C. Now, Mr. Nehru, would a Romney administration be much different from an Obama administration if we look at in terms of an outlook to India? I mean, India hasn't really featured in the campaign.
In these elections, it's very interesting. For example, in the third debate on foreign policy, the issue of India never came up. And that's because during these elections, it's the differences between the candidates that are amplified. So it's comforting to know that India is a bipartisan issue. Both candidates, I think, broadly agree with the India policy. And that's because India and the United States have common interests. They have the same values in many respects. They're both democracies. They both have interests in free markets. And they both have a common strategic interest in Asia. So for all those reasons, India is not an issue in these elections, and I see that as a very good thing.
You know, Mr. Nehru, irrespective of clearly who wins, how do you see the Indo-US relation going forward? Now, it's been seen to be dominated by other issues. Both campaigners talked about that, but how do you see it impact Indo-US relationship?
I see, frankly, the big stumbling block in India itself. That is to say, we need a much more cogent policy. We need a much more active policy towards engaging the United States. But at the same time, I do believe that the United States has a global view. It has global interests. India has its own interests, and those interests are in Asia and in its neighborhood. And sometimes these interests may not perfectly coincide. So I think both countries will have to realize over time that there will be areas where they're going to agree to disagree. But broadly speaking, there are huge areas of agreement.
All right, Mr. Nehru, thank you for joining us there on how it would impact the Indo-US relations. But for now, the spotlight onto the American voter. It is the day of judgment, the day of referendum, as the deadlock between Obama and Romney clearly reflects the offsetting strengths and weaknesses of the two. Romney's personal image has improved substantially, but Obama continues to lend his rival on many personal characteristics and issues. Now, as you can see on your television screens, Obama connects fairly well with the ordinary American with 59%, while Romney only 31%. Obama is seen as the candidate, as you can see, clearly seen more friendly to the people of America. On the issue of position on issues, Obama stands at 51%, Romney 36%. Obama is also seen as someone who is more consistent than Romney in the position he takes on issues that concern the US. On the issue of foreign policy, on top foreign policy too, Americans see Obama as a better bet than Mitt Romney, and that has been a consistent position since the beginning of the campaign. And if we talk about honesty and truth, Obama rates 46%, Romney 40%. Majority of voters continue to agree with criticism frequently lodged against Romney. About 60% feel that Romney is promising more than he can deliver. Now we'll take a look at Mitt Romney's strengths and weaknesses. Well, better equipped to handle the fiscal deficit. There with Romney at 51%, Obama at 37%. Now, more Americans feel Romney will be able to turn around the economy much better than Barack Obama. On the second, it is said that Romney can improve job situation much better. 50% of voters thinking Romney can do it, while only 42% feel that Obama can turn that around. They also clearly see the Republican challenger as someone who is better equipped to improve the job situation in the country. Where the economy is concerned, most people deem that it is Mitt Romney who has better ideas for an economic turnaround, while Obama has only 41% of chance. Many voters say Romney has new ideas than Obama has on how the economy can be turned around. Well, as you can see in all the popular votes, Maruk and I, my colleague tracking developments, all point out to one thing, that it is indeed going to be on a knife's edge, with a very small advantage emerging as we speak in Obama's favor. If he indeed manages to get his 4 more years, here's what we can expect and why the reasons, in fact, why America went with it. First and foremost, the economy. The arguments for electing Romney hinges on a sour note and his experience as a businessman with the expertise to turn it around. But if the crucial voters believe the economy is getting better, Romney would lose this edge. Also, Romney's momentum is maxing out. After the first debate, it looked like Romney might have a legitimate shot at winning. He surged in the polls, his followers got energized, there was hope for the candidate, but pollsters believe this peaked too early and that the momentum has evaporated. One major issue seems to be Hurricane Sandy. Now, the hurricane that devastated the Northeast, which also happens to be the media center of the country, focusing people's attention away from this bitter campaign. And Americans saw Obama being presidential in his response to the storm. So, Hurricane Sandy could have, in fact, helped Barack Obama. Meanwhile, a large chunk of American voters do also believe that Mitt Romney is promising a lot more than he can deliver, and a majority also feel it's hard to know what Romney really stands for.